Hi everybody, I'm Sean Ryan. I'm running for City Council. I just want you to know that schools is my #1 issue. I attended the Boston Public Schools for 14 years, starting at the charter school, then I went to the Hennigan, then I went to the Martin Luther King, and then I went to Latin. And that prepared me to go to Harvard. So I had just a quality education in the Boston Public Schools. I think it's irrelevant, the makeup of the school committee. I don't think that's the source of the problems. I think we should lift the cap on charter schools. There's over 8,000 people on the list for charter schools. The demand is there, so why isn't government meeting the demand? It's anti-democratic for them not to do what we want, because we, the citizens, are in control. I do support vouchers, and I think that vouchers are simply an extension of the charter school model, which what it does is it takes the power away from the school committee to determine what sort of education your kid is going to get, and it gives it to you, because it means that you get to choose the school. If you want your kid to go to a school where there's uniforms, you can send your kid there. If you want to go to a school where the kids learn Chinese, you can go there. Charter schools, they allow innovation to flourish, and they give you the choice, and they make the schools compete for your business. We need more charter schools. Thank you. Once again, I'm Sean Ryan. I'm running for Boston City Council. I don't think it's the government's role to provide housing for people. I think that the free market does a very good job of providing housing if it's allowed to work. And the reason why it's not working is because there are many disincentives. Councilor Connolly said we need to find incentives to get developers to build affordable housing. I don't think that that's what we have to do. We have to get rid of all the disincentives that are there in the form of all the regulations and the archaic zoning laws that we have to get rid of. I mean, if you're a developer, it's very difficult to get a project seen through to approval, and there are tons of areas in the city, especially around T-stops and on the south end Roxbury border down by BU Medical Center, where there's tons of open land, and I should say that open land was created by previous government projects like the Inner Belt that we stopped, thank God. But what I'm saying is, if there's a high price of housing, it means there already is an incentive for people to build new housing. And we just have to let these incentives work. We have to get the government out of housing. When the federal government got into housing, it really didn't work for any of us. Thanks. Hi everybody, I'm Sean Ryan again. With regard to green jobs, I don't really think that it's that much of a priority for a person who's looking for a job, whether or not the job is green or brown or whatever. I think people want to put food on the table, and they want to bring a check home, a steady check, so that they can support their families. And so I think that, like Robert said, the government sector is not going to be at the cutting edge of these green technologies. It's always the private sector that drives innovation. So we have to make sure that all jobs, all businesses, all companies have a much more hospitable environment here in the state of Massachusetts and in Boston. And if we're looking at the U.S. economy as a whole, one of the things that we're going to have to do over the next few years, if we ever want to pay down the debt, if we ever want to be able to pay for what we actually consume, we're going to have to reindustrialize. I don't care whether the jobs are green or not. We have to start making things again. People have to start getting up, going to work, making something, coming home, and earning an honest living. And we haven't done that for quite some time because we've been borrowing from the Chinese, we've run up our nation's credit card, and now the tax collector is here. So that's what we have to do. Thanks. Once again, my name is Sean Ryan. I'm running for City Council. I just want to thank all the candidates, all the moderators who did a great job, and I want to thank the audience for coming and giving us the opportunity to share our ideas with you. Much has been made in this race about how this is a new Boston, old Boston moment. When I look at this stage and when I look around the room, I don't see new Boston or old Boston. I see the Boston I grew up in. I grew up in Jamaica Plain. I went to the Boston Public Schools, and my parents were kind enough to teach me to treat individuals as individuals and not to separate people into categories. That's the philosophy of government I have, and I hope you'll give me a chance. And as a compliment to Ayanna, I'd like to say, when you enter that voting booth on September the 22nd, please remember my name, Sean, and please remember the 3 S's, because that's what I'm going to be focusing on in my first term. Schools, services, and safety. Those are the 3 most important things that government does for us. I will